Weapons slayed again, topping the box office for the second weekend in a row. Freakier Friday and Fantastic Four also repeated in second and third place, while Superman's box office seemed impervious to the movie now being available at home. Welcome to Box Office Revival. I'm Brandon Gray, the creator of Box Office Mojo, and if you want the truth about the box office, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. So, this weekend ending August 17th, 2025 was the first time since mid-May that we've had a sub $100 million weekend. At just over 90 million, business was down a whopping 36% from the same weekend in 2024 when Alien Romulus opened. It was also down from 2023, but higher than 2022, yet this was not the worst weekend of 2025, ranking 21st out of 2025's 33 weekends so far. Given the precarious state of the box office, we're extra sensitive to when the box office is up and when it is down, because when you're in recovery mode, you need to see improvement every year. But over these past couple of months, we've witnessed 2025's lead over 2024 whittle away from being up 21% in mid-June to now only being up 5 or 6%. And 2024 itself was a down year from 2023, so this is not encouraging. But that doesn't mean there aren't bright spots, and Weapons certainly was a welcome late summer hit. Zach Cregger's horror thriller led the weekend with $24.5 million, down only 35% from its first weekend. Here's the daily breakdown for Weapons compared to what its studio Warner Brothers estimated on Sunday. Warner Brothers pulled a Disney and got too bullish with their Sunday projection this time. They said Weapons would drop only 20% from Saturday to Sunday like it did in its opening weekend, giving the movie a $25 million second weekend. But with the actual box office reporting, Weapons was down 25% on Sunday, so that's why the weekend turned out to be $24.5 million, contrary to reports you might have seen previously that had it at 25. So sure, Weapons did not have that epic second weekend hold like, say, The Sixth Sense or Get Out or Sinners had, but its drop was smaller than the first Conjuring's 42%, The Black Phone's 41%, and Longlegs 38%. But as for the latter two, the comparison is kind of moot, since Weapons has already surpassed their final grosses. Longlegs tapped out at $74.3 million, while Black Phone ended at $90.1 million. Weapons is at $91.3 million as of Monday, August 18th, and Weapons is already the third highest grossing horror movie of 2025. By the way, this video is an update, so for more in-depth analysis on Weapons, please check out my previous videos. Worldwide, Weapons was also number one for the second weekend in a row, and through Monday, its worldwide total stands at $155 million. So it's already outdone Longlegs' $128 million final tally, and it's about to surpass Black Phone's $161.4 million worldwide gross. And in case you're wondering why I keep referencing Longlegs and Black Phone, it's because those were recent summer horror breakout hits, just like Weapons. Now, Freakier Friday clung to second place with $14.3 million, down 44% in its second weekend. Here's a comparison with Freaky Friday 2003, which held a little better and had a higher running total, $58.4 million versus Freakier Friday's $54.6 million, and that's without adjusting for the 22 years of ticket price inflation. In its fourth weekend, the Fantastic Four First Steps stopped free-falling. Its 43% drop was an improvement over the 59% drops it had in its second and third weekends. It added $9 million this past weekend, lifting its total to $247.3 million. By comparison, Superman fell 45% in its fourth weekend, but had higher grosses all around. First Steps, though, held better than Fantastic Four 2005 at the same point, even if the latter was much closer when adjusted for ticket price inflation in terms of grosses. Now, there was no big second movie glow-up for Nobody 2. The Bob Odenkirk action comedy opened to $7.95 million over the weekend. The first Nobody debuted to $6.8 million in March 2021, ranking number one at the time when theaters were starting to reopen. Nobody 1 closed out with $27.6 million. Now, Nobody 2 ranked fourth, not third as you might have heard elsewhere. Everyone else listed $9.25 million for the weekend, but that was the total gross, not the weekend gross. Again, the media and the industry keep including preview grosses in the weekend column of the weekend chart, and that can also lead to further errors in chart ranking, such as this case where they list Nobody 2 as third when, in reality, Fantastic Four was third. If you want to help take a stand against this dishonest practice, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Rounding out the top 5, we had The Bad Guys, which was down just 29%. It's been trailing the first Bad Guys on the weekends, but thanks to those juicy summer weekdays, its total gross of $57.2 million is close to the first Bad Guys' $57.4 million at the same point. Meanwhile, at number 6, Superman had its best hold yet, easing 34% in its 6th weekend, despite also being available to rent or buy on digital at home. A lot of people making a stink about Superman coming home just 35 days after its theatrical release, as if the movie's box office run was over. But bear in mind that when a movie is $25 to rent at home, how much of a bite of the box office is it actually going to take? And on top of that, maybe at that point, it's appealing to a different audience than the movie-going crowd. Of course, one could also argue that news of the home release was announced too late in the game to impact the box office, but we'll see. My observations from other movies, including Jurassic World Rebirth, is that in general, these early PVOD releases are more about the optics and training audiences to stay home in the long term than they are about the immediate box office impact on the movie in question. At any rate, best hold yet for Superman, as I said, making $5.3 million and lifting the total to $340.9 million. Its hold was better than the Batman at the same point, but not as good as James Gunn's previous movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, nor as good as Spider-Man Homecoming at the same point. Now, as good a hold as Superman had, F1 the movie was the star of the weekend on this front, slowing just 7%. No doubt bolstered by its return to IMAX screens. But it's also important to note for big holdover movies like F1, Superman, and even Fantastic Four, it's not surprising for them to leg out in late August. The new movies are so weak that these older movies get to hang on to their screens longer. And there's still a baseline of people who want to go to the movies and will catch up on the big movies they've been hearing about or see them again. So a small drop at this point doesn't mean much for Superman other than it was prominent enough and buzzy enough to linger on in the late summer. Now, if you're wondering about Highest to Lowest, the new Spike Lee joint starring Denzel Washington, or Americana with Sydney Sweeney, well, their distributors, A24 and Lionsgate respectively, did not report grosses, though Americana is estimated at just $500,000 at 1,100 theaters, which means it played to empty houses, while Highest to Lowest was at around only 300 theaters. So shame on them for hiding their box office. And also, it is a shame that Highest to Lowest in particular is effectively a streaming movie for Apple TV Plus because a Denzel Washington crime thriller could have done some business when the box office so desperately needs a boost right now. But even forget about the broader box office, it would have been better for Highest to Lowest to get a proper theatrical release instead of getting buried on streaming as essentially a straight-to-video release. Now for the domestic top-grossing movies of 2025. There were no changes to the rankings to report, but these are the updated total grosses. And look at Lilo and Stitch. It's so close to a Minecraft movie. Do you think Disney will give Stitch another push to get it past Minecraft? Or will they just rest on the worldwide win? On the worldwide box office chart, there's also nothing new to report in terms of ranking, just updates to the totals. Superman, though, is about to surpass Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, and F1 the movie will soon do the same. And that means both are going to top the $600 million mark. Meanwhile, Fantastic Four is sitting at around $470 million, and it is a lock to hit $500 million. And that's a wrap for now. We'll keep tracking the box office for all these movies and more here at Box Office Revival. So please like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel to help support objective box office reporting. This has been Brandon Gray, creator of Box Office Mojo. Thank you for watching.